Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 3 topics for this video. The first one is the topic of what is the root cause of the conflict in Ukraine. And probably you heard this narrative many times in the past 3 years, which is Russia wants to grab land from Ukraine, and after it's done, if we, the good people of Europe and North America and maybe Australia and the good people, that's it. If we allow the Russians to do that in Ukraine, they will come to grab our lands as well, and our women, and will enslave our children and will take care of us. This is how the narrative is put forth by the guys in charge of us. Well, the Russians clearly have been saying for 3 years and a half, no. The root causes for the Ukraine war is this main one, and I will discuss that with you. Second topic, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States of America, seems to be a Putin apologist, as they like to bash anyone who tries to bring, what about this evidence? And he says Ukraine will not win against Russia. What should happen to Mr. Vance? Are we going to tar him, feather him, and get him out of the town? Or are we going to put him on a stake and then boof? Or what are we going to do with this guy? Maybe we pull an Epstein on him? Anyway, that's the second topic. And the third topic, that's the Poles with the balls. I have nothing against the Poles. Let's start with this disclaimer. But if they're imbeciles, I will call them out. If they're geniuses, I will call that as well. So in this case, it is an imbecile who makes a point like we are strong by making the point that proves they are weak. With this kind of losers, a country cannot win. The same is true for Romania, so don't worry about bashing the Poles. So let's start with the first topic in the first article. It starts from Russia Today. It is from Monday, the 28th of April, 2025. Ignore the guy's name. This is what he says. Forget land. This is Russia's main demand from the West. So not the land. We've been told by the media operatives in the West, the free media, that actually the Russians want land. They're imperialistic in their nature, DNA. Unlike NATO. So NATO is a defensive alliance, somehow grabbing land, which is deploying its troops over different countries voluntarily, we're told, in order to defend them against the boogeyman that is pointed at a certain time, and they can change. Today could be Russia, tomorrow could be Germany again. The next day could be maybe Hungary, the next day could be, China. Oh, China is already. All right, and so on. So it's Russia that advanced so far since 1991, not NATO, which is the United States of America. So the point this guy makes is that, wait a minute, it's not land, it's something else. And I'm going to show you what, according to this guy. Now you can doubt that, but if you doubt that, or you are skeptical, that's what I want you to do. Just do some minimal research. You don't have to go deeper into the issue. And you're going to find out what NATO did in land grab and what Russia did in land grab. Okay? And then you see how some weasels presented their land grab as in the name of goodness and defending others from the boogeyman, and see Russia's reasons of land grab. And it's minimal. You don't need more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's all. That is, you have to break out of the cage built for us by the media, the PhD professors, the experts, the analysts, and Hollywood, and some politicians. And that's it. And you're going to be able to understand easily who is who and what is what, the dynamics. Okay, let's read here. I don't have to go And here you have the first subtitle. NATO arrogance created this war, and it could kill any peace. All right, I'm not going to go who this guy is, because I don't really care. I care what people say, not who they are. If they're smart and the point is valid, I take it. So, yet territory was not the true cause of the conflict. The deeper issue was decades of unresolved security, contradictions, demilitarization, so prominently featured in Russia's original demands, demilitarization of some, not of Russia. encompasses both Ukraine's neutral status and the broader limitation of its military capabilities, whether through curtailing domestic production, cutting off external supplies, or reducing existing force. This demand is far from cosmetic. Fulfillment would overturn the international order that has reigned since the end of the Cold War, 1991, in general. An order based on NATO's unchecked expansion across Europe and Eurasia, without regard of Moscow's objections. Got it? The military campaign thus became a way of exercising a veto that the West had long denied Russia. That is, you can't come near me. Back the shit off. True demilitarization of Ukraine would, in effect, force international recognitions of the veto, but many in the West remain unwilling to accept such a precedent. Got it? Clear. I totally agree with that representation of reality, because that is the reality. It's the entire reality? No, it's 97% of the reasons. Okay? That's the way it is. So, next one. Let's go to, if you want, I can go to 1991, the US gentleman agreement with then the Soviets, with Shevardnadze and with Gorbachev, that if the Russians agree with the unification of Germany, it was divided, remember, then NATO will not expand 1 inch eastward towards Russia. And I'm going to show you just a little map so you kind of understand who's who, what's what. Right here. This is the map of Europe. So when in 1991, Finland was not part of NATO. Sweden, they are right now, not part of NATO. These guys right here, the Baltic states, not part of NATO. Poland, not part of NATO. Czechoslovakia right here, not part of NATO. Hungary, not part of NATO. Let's say 1/4 of Germany, this was East Germany, maybe 1/3 of Germany was not part of NATO. Romania was not part of NATO. Bulgaria was not part of NATO. None of these countries. So the border was from here. Norway was. And you go here with Denmark. You cut Germany here. You go around here. You go through Austria. Okay, Switzerland is right here. I have nothing to do with it. You go here and Italy. So this is where NATO was, right here. You see this line? Right here. Now NATO is right here. Cut here where Finland is. Got the Baltic states, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey was, and Greece was. All right? That's it. Now they're right here. This was promised not to happen. And now they want this one. And the Russians said, "Niet, that's not gonna happen." Got it? That is the reality. In 1991, the West broke its civilized promise, gentleman agreement. You don't have to have in writing things with your wife or with your husband, do you? When you say, "I'm going to go to buy bread and groceries today," you're not going to sign a paper and you're going to have a witness and maybe a notary to stamp it and say, "Yes, we got the witness, everything is good, now don't break your word." You just say, why? Because your partner, you believe, you trust the partner, and you don't have to do that. The same. In 1991, we became partners, didn't we? No, we didn't. But the Russians thought so. The other guys had no intention. They lied. And then in 1994, it was the Budapest Memorandum, when the Americans and the Brits signed a document together with the Russians and the Ukrainians in Budapest, Hungary, that Ukraine will be a neutral country and its border will be respected as long as Ukraine is neutral. If it's not neutral, then someone is going to fuck them up. Who's that? In this case, the Russians. All right? And then in 2014, Ukraine broke neutrality 100% by having an organized coup by foreign agencies with traitors inside Ukraine, and that's it. That's when it broke neutrality. Therefore, Russia said, "You not only kill our ethnic Russians in Ukraine, you destroy our religion, you destroy our..." And that's not the religion, their religion. The religion is somewhere south of Russia, but nevertheless, the Baro religion. That's one. And then you destroy our culture in Ukraine and so on. We can't allow that to happen. And then Minsk agreements broken and brokered again by the lying West. And now Russia said, "You know what? We're going to smack you." And that's what they do. And we go to the next article, next topic, which comes again from Russia Today and sounds like this. Again from Monday the 28th of April. Ukraine won't win. Vice President of the United States of America, J.D. Vance. And I'm quoting, "It is a weird idea to expect Russia's collapse." Well, it was, but they tried. They thought that the ruble would collapse in 2 weeks, not even. The U.S. Vice President has said Ukraine is not poised to win the conflict with Russia. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has said, he added that it was naive to expect Russia's collapse if the fighting continues from several more years. And I'm quoting, "If this doesn't stop, the Ukrainians aren't winning the war," he said. I think there's this weird idea among the mainstream media operatives that if this thing goes on for just another few years, the Russians will collapse, the Ukrainians will take their territory back, and everything will go back to the way that it was before the war. This is not the reality that we live in, he said. You could have millions of more people killed if this thing goes on for another few years, and it could risk escalation into a nuclear war. It has to stop. Sometimes you're incredibly frustrated with Ukrainians, sometimes you're incredibly frustrated with the Russians, Vance said, and sometimes you just want to throw your hands up, but that's what President Trump doesn't let us do. Now that is reality. If you want to solve a problem, you have to assess the problem in a very objective way. If you don't like certain pieces of information, you're like, oh my God, the water pipe is broken. Oh my God, I don't like that. Okay, in order to solve that, I will ignore that fact that the water is coming inside of your house because of that pipe. Why? Because you don't like that. So ignore it. So where's the water coming, man? It's water here. Where's the water coming? Hey, Gigi, Mikey, Tommy, find where the fucking water is coming from. And when the pipe is over there, if you don't like that the water is coming to the broken pipe, you will not solve the problem. So you have to be objective in that. You have to accept it. You don't like it, otherwise you're not going to solve it. Then plan about it and go exactly to the source, which is you go downstairs or wherever the water comes from, the city or from the well, and turn it off like this. You know what? And after you do that, don't break it. Or after you do that, then you fix the pipe and then you try that, clean everything and dry everything up. Okay? You go to the source. The source is the first subject of this video, NATO's expansion. And that gets me to the third article and the third subject. The problem is with the second topic. When someone commits something grave, something bad, you don't let them off the hook. They should pay for that. So if these guys who were in charge of this war in Ukraine, will anybody be charged? I mean, really charged. I'm not talking about, ICC court and then they forget about it. No, like, you go to NATO and say, well, you plan this, you advance. Anybody will be, or nice try, just, nothing will happen. Why? Because it's about this, not about that, or we're all just. And let's go to the third topic, which is about Poland. And Poland will try to use an argument to show their strength, actually pointing out to their weakness. And remember, weakness and cowardness is in packs. If you see a gang approaching you, that means they're afraid, they're weak, because they come in numbers. If you have one guy who goes to a pack and fucks them up, now that's strength and courage. Now that's Russia versus NATO. So the Poles think we can beat Russia. Russia is weak. We are strong. NATO is strong. But NATO is formed of what? 30-some countries or something like that. That means you are all weak and you can't beat one strong dude, which is Russia. Ukrainska Pravda. Poland will respond. Do you think Poland will respond? To planned joint Russia-Belarus military exercises. So Russia and Belarus will have some exercises in September this year that they announced, with time, and they gave time to these guys. They are announced, it's not like ad hoc. And Poland to respond. That means poking the bear again. But it's not going to be Poland. Poland, we talk about NATO, not about Poland. Why? Because we're strong if we are NATO. Cezarki Tomczyk Deputy Minister of National Defense of Poland. Okay, so the Deputy Minister, he's the guy right there of defense, has stated that his country, Poland, will respond to the planned Russia-Belarus military exercises Zapad, scheduled for September. Poland is right here, and these are supposed to be in neighboring Belarus. Nothing wrong with that. The Americans are conducting all kind of war games in next to right now in Philippines, and the Chinese are not happy about it. They go in South Korea, and okay, now here Belarus is gonna be in this. In Poland, this country says we're gonna fight all this. We're gonna show them who's boss, according to this guy. But no, Cezary Tomczyk doesn't think about Poland. He says we will respond. His country will respond. Okay. Tomczyk announced that Poland would adequately respond to the Zapad exercises organized by Russia and Belarus. And I was like, all ears, tell me about it. And I'm quoting this guy. Poland will respond to Zapad exercises which will take place in Belarus in an appropriate manner from the Polish side. Okay, large-scale exercises involving Poland and NATO, including major maneuvers. No, forget about NATO. I want to see you. So, will take place, including major maneuvers, will take place in Poland. You're just you're on the bed where the sex occurs, Poland. That's all. You provide only with the bed and the condom, if they use condom. That's all. Let's not forget that last year we held who's we? Poland? We held the largest NATO exercises in history with about 100,000 servicemen involved. And now this is the cherry on the shed. NATO is stronger than Russia. So he's meant to say that we together are stronger than you. That's why we don't win in Ukraine, and that's why right now we negotiate with Russia, because we're stronger. Now that's the one. And the other one, he talks about Poland. But when he talks about Poland's strength, is always attached to the big elephant, which is the United States of America, not NATO. Poland with Europe will not dare move any pubic hair against Russia. Let's start with that one. That reminds me of a joke that we have in the communist times. It was a mouse and an elephant, and they were happening to cross in the same time a bridge, a wooden bridge. And obviously they were like trembling. Elephant was trembling, doom, 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 and the mouse was like, and the mouse, went doom, 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 because they were going in the same time. The mouse being Poland, looks at the Americans obviously and says, aren't we trembling loudly? Aren't we trembling loudly? No, he is trembling loudly. You're levitating. So again, Poland is together with the elephant. With this kind of people, my friends, is like Scar from the Lion King movie, the cartoon. Scar the lion that I always liked. I tend to like bad people, like Putin, like, these guys. Scar being the bad lion, black mane and a scar, like Scarface and so on. He's got some hyenas, some Poland, Romanians, but Romania was quiet, so I'm not going to put them over there. I'm going to put the Baltic states. The Baltic states, Poland, and the Czech Republic were the biggest hyenas over there. All right? They were the ones. But when Scar, the lion, that these guys were standing around and behind, were all puffed up like Poland and the Baltic states. Hey, behind Scar, they were all, I'm going to fuck you up, yeah. And when the hyenas would meet Simba, the good lion, all right, they will be all friendly, one-on-one. But when Scar appeared, they were all with big balls and all puffed, and their necks were like, God damn it, man, we will show you the biggest NATO exercise in history, man. We organized it. Jesus Christ. Now, sorry, you can see through this. Shh. A little bit smaller beak. It's a problem. It's a problem because these guys, like in any other gang, will make a mistake and will step on the other guy's gang's cock, the leader of the other guy's gang, and he's gonna smack Poland like this, and then it's gonna probably trigger something a little bit bigger. The big guys don't fight; they fight with the little ones. So Poland would fight probably with Belarus. Belarus has nuclear weapons, However they have them. Poland doesn't have nuclear weapons, so don't think about a conventional war. You're going to go with your fists, and the other guy is going to say, here you have a Walter P99 40 caliber. Boom, that's it. Bye, see you never. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.